currently feeling overstimulated? Do you feel like there is so much shouting at you, there's so much just wanting your attention, but there's nothing in your life that's actually causing that overwhelming, overstimulating feeling, other than just constantly switching between tasks and the amount of notifications you get in a day, or even just like the conversations that are happening online? About 10 years ago, we didn't have this problem that we do today. We didn't have this problem of always being shouted out to and always trying to capture every bit of attention that you could possibly give them, any bit of engagement you could possibly give to social media, to scrolling online, to all these notifications, all these people, all these like corporations, all these businesses that all just want your attention, your money, your time, your likes. And this is just being shoved in our faces for the past 10 years. And the amount that it has grown to this point where it is becoming a very serious problem, where we feel like we can't be productive. We feel like we can't accomplish the goals that we want because it's just being bored is suffering at this point in 2026. Like in 2016, the way that the world was set up in 2016 is so much more different than the way that the world is set up today in 2026. So the ability to become disciplined in a world that's rewarding distraction is getting increasingly difficult, right? It's getting out of hand. So how do we focus? How do we focus on trying to stay disciplined? How do we manage when the reward for being distracted is given to us instantly versus us actually going out there and trying to get a goal and trying to accomplish something, and the reward doesn't happen within a day, it doesn't happen instantly, it doesn't happen within months, it may not even happen within years. And the long-term goal and the satisfaction you will feel over time is nothing compared to what you can get instantly in a short form content. The thing is that we gotta recognize that these rewards that they're feeding us, they're fake. They're not real. They're just made up systems. They're made up games. They're made up rewards that if you engage with them, if you're loyal with them, if you hand them money, then you will get some sort of incentive back. Just think of like logging into a game, right? You get points or you get rewards. You get points for just logging into the game itself. And not only that, but if you play the game, then you get even more points. If you rank, you get a certain amount of points, and then with those points you can earn cool virtual stuff that you can customize on your character or whatever. Like all of this stuff is just feeding that satisfaction, that need to have things. And then they create this illusion of like, oh, if you want this like coveted thing and you don't want to wait for it, then you can just pay for it and not have to wait to get what you need to get what you want. And so that's when we start handing money over into these like games and stuff. But we lose the ability to patiently wait and work towards the things that we want. Okay, we focus too much on the short-term satisfaction versus the long-term goal. And what can a long-term goal will look like in our lives, because that will stick a lot longer than something that you receive in 5 seconds. Because at the end of the day, like, what is the prize, right? What is the prize that they're giving you? 10% off when you purchase something for $100. What is the incentive? Signing up for a credit card so you can only get a discount that one time that you sign up for it, and then after that you're just left with a bunch of interest and debt on that company. What is the real incentive? What the real prize is, what the real incentive is money lost, time lost, and just a lifetime full of regret. So in today's video, we are going to discuss how to log off of social media, which is so hard, right? How to log off social media, how to lock into your goals, and how to be rock solid on your discipline that nothing can get you off track. So if you guys are new here, my name is Geraldine. I make videos all about goal setting, productivity, and procrastination. So if that's the type of content you love to consume, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also click the notification bell so you do know when I do upload, and follow me on all my social media. I am at Geraldine7. Let's get into topic number 1. So number 1, how to log off of social media. I spent the last few months thinking that my life was okay. I would go to work, come home, scroll on social media, go to the gym if I felt like it, you know, and then that was my day. I didn't talk to anybody throughout the day. I didn't have any hobbies. You know, I have a decent paying job. I have a really nice apartment. I'll tell you guys that. I have a really nice apartment and I love where I live. But I spent the last few months thinking that everything was okay when in reality, nothing was okay. Because once I stepped out of my bubble of, oh yeah, everything's fine, and let's say I would go hang out with somebody and I saw the life that they're living, then I would start to feel jealousy. I would start to feel jealous that they got to have friends, that they have a nice relationship, that they have a bigger house, or they have a really big friend group. Like, I would start to feel this jealousy, and the more I wanted to hit into my bubble. And the thing is that I used social media as a coping mechanism to replace all of those things, when in reality I needed to have silence in my life. I needed to silence the phone. I needed to put my phone on do not disturb and literally sit with myself and think, what do I want? Because at first I had this really set mind that I wanted to do content creation, and I still do. But then at the same time, I would avoid all of the work by just scrolling on social media. Now, doesn't that sound like resonates with you in any sort of way? Then you clicked on the right video. If you have a goal, but you just cope with and you cope of avoid the work by just scrolling on social media, and then just pretending like everything is fine, but you know there's this thing in the back of your head saying like, no, nothing is really fine. Like, you really actually want those things, but you just don't know where to start, or you don't know what to do. You don't know how to log off. You don't know how to stop depending on social media. The first thing I did, I had to come back to reality. So starting this new year was an amazing fresh start that I really truly needed, because I was getting really lost back there in 2025 towards the end. I had to sit with my own thoughts. That's the thing about social media, right? It's the thing about all this short form content, all of these things, all of these email marketing that gets just shouted at you, all of the notifications on apps. Like, they really push for notifications, to send you notifications, because they want you on those apps. I started to get so clouded with what I wanted, and I was hearing everyone else's voices but my own. And so I needed to sit in silence within my own thoughts and just really reflect, what do I want? What is it that I am searching for? Is it love? Is it career? Is it money? Is it family? Like, what is it that I'm really truly searching for? So the first thing that I want you to do, and if you haven't done so already, is I want you to make a list for all the things you want for 2026, right? You can call, or just like your future in general. What kind of life have you always dreamed of having? What kind of home do you want? What does your future husband look like? What does your future body look like? Just like me, this can give you a hint. It can really help you focus in on what's really going on in your head. Because like I said, if you're constantly online doom scrolling, then maybe you have certain thoughts, someone else's opinion, someone else's thought process, someone else's values that is implementing inside you, rather than you trying to figure that out for yourself. So another thing that we're going to do is I want you to create a reward system for yourself. So just like gaming apps, they set up a reward system where you log in and you get those points. Like I told you, you get those points. And all of that you can redeem for things that you want later on. Like there's either special hats that you can put on your characters, special skins, or just really cool like actions that you can use within the game, whatever it is, right? You need to create some sort of reward system so that it incentivizes you to want to show up for yourself and want to show up for your goals. So the one thing that I started to do was I started implementing this thing called punch cards. So just like when you go get ice cream and they give you a little card, and like for the every 10th ice cream you go and get, like the 10th one is free or whatever, right? So I started doing that with my goals, with my habits. So I have 5 currently, where it's like every 5 books that I read, I can get a Starbucks drink. Or every 6 miles that I walk, I can buy myself a new workout set. Like whatever I desire for it to be. I chose the intensity, I chose the difficulty of how many rounds I have to go through before I could actually get what I want. That way I'm not just waiting for that specific thing to happen. For example, like content creation, right? Being a content creator might take me a good few years before I'm like rock solid and full-time doing this. So being able to just show up and like, okay, if you post 10 pieces of content this month, then you can get this. Like it helps me have these smaller wins, and I can be able to show up and allow myself to have those small wins of like, cool, like I did post 10 pieces of content this month. Like I can have my Starbucks drink. I'm obviously restraining myself from getting a Starbucks drink because I could just get it whenever I feel like it, but that's not the point. The point is that you can only have it when you work really hard. And that's what social media is really good at, is that they're giving you an incentive, they're giving you a reward for doing the absolute bare minimum. And that is just not the way that the world really works. Okay, you're not going to get money from sitting on your ass. You're not going to get skinny from eating a bunch of junk food. No, how you're going to get what you want is by doing the hard work, and then you get rewarded. You don't get the reward first by doing nothing. So now I'm systemizing myself, I'm gamifying myself by saying, okay, if I do this, then I reward myself with this. And there's small things, like you don't have to make it something that you have to purchase. It could literally be for every 10 pieces of content that I upload, I can have a spa day at home, or have a girls' night at home, or whatever, right? Whatever you feel like doing, whatever you feel like having, whatever is within your budget, you can easily do. But you also have to understand that you can't allow yourself to have that reward until you do the work. When you start to create a life that isn't just surrounded by logging in every day, then it just makes life so much more easier to stay off of it. Like think of the type of conversations that you have in a day. If it's all just related of what you're seeing online, that's how you know you've been online for way too long, and there's nothing else in your life going on outside of that. Because let's say, God forbid, the internet gets scrubbed. There's no internet. What the hell are you going to talk about with people? What are you going to talk about? You're just going to tell them I just sat in my butt and just did nothing the rest of my day? No, you gotta have a life outside of social media, because whatever you see there, those people are living their lives and they're capturing moments of their lives and posting it online, and you're just the one consuming it. There's the ones living it, but you're the ones consuming it. When you are just online way too often, it shows up in the way that, like I said, it just shows up in the way that you have conversations. Another thing you can start implementing is surrounding yourself by inspiring people. I'm sure you've heard of the phrase, you are what you consume. And it's true. If you consume content by people that have absolutely nothing going on for themselves, and it's just a bunch of dumb shit that you see online, then all your conversations are going to be just that. They're just going to be complete trash. Are going to be nothing worth, nothing interesting. You're not going to get opportunities that way. You're not going to inspire people in any type of way. And you're not going to learn anything from it if you're just constantly watching dumb shit that has absolute no value whatsoever. You're just wasting your time. Like, there's a time and moment to just consume that type of content, like, every once in a while, but to do it on a consistent, everyday basis, what are you truly learning at the end of the day? Nothing. And as humans, we want to make sure that we are growing. We want to make sure that we are evolving and changing. So start by changing the things that you hear on a day-to-day basis. Start from changing of hearing negative things all day long to now hearing things that are much more positive. I actually really like watching stuff about Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, Kris Kardashian, because I am just so inspired by the businesses that they've built, the brands that they build, and it really truly aligns with where I'm trying to go. So I've watched their masterclass, I've watched their interviews, I even watched their show. I've been watched their show this week, and I'm just so inspired by Kim, mostly just because she's so hardworking, and I just love her work ethic, and her life is literally what I want. Like, if I can say I would want to swap with anybody in this world, I would say it's Kim Kardashian. Like, I would literally want to swap lives with her because she is living the life that I truly want. Like, having a business, her home is just so beautiful. Obviously, her relationships are just a little iffy, but I wouldn't want Kanye West as a baby daddy, but just herself, just her vibe, her aura, the way that people love her, I aspire to be that. And another person that I just love their work ethic is Taylor Swift. Like, she's just another person that I'm like in awe of. I'm like, oh my god, look at the legacy that she's built for herself. Like, that's so incredible. I only hope to have a legacy just like hers someday. So I watched her documentary, her behind the scenes of the Eras Tour, which was really interesting to watch, and just hear what people would say about her. And I'm like, that's the type of character I want to have. I want people to say those things about me too. So what do I need to do to start doing that? All of this is to say that you are what you consume. So if you watch people who you wish to trade lives with, then guess what? You're going to start noticing, if you observe enough, if you hear enough, if you look enough, you'll start to pick up on some of their habits. You'll start to hear what they say, and you're going to be like, oh wait, maybe I should start doing that. You will start to get inspired. I'm so motivated. Like, all I want is a schedule full of things to do, because I just get really bored of just scrolling on social media all day long. I want a list of things to do, like fun things of doing photo shoots and talking to brand deals and filming content, and I don't know, just being loved by others. Like, I want that so badly for myself. Anyways, get where they are because of the effort that they put in. It's not because they're scrolling on social media. I guarantee you it's not because of scrolling on social media. They can take, obviously, inspiration for their businesses on social media, like hear out what the customers say or hear out what their fans say. But then again, they take everything with a grain of salt, because if you consume too much of it, it'll just cloud again your thought process in your brain, and you'll start questioning everything. So it's better to take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to online, and really try to focus on what's reality, what is tangible, what are things that you can actually feel with your hands, versus what is happening online. Because what's happening online is just, it's not important. The FOMO that we get is absolutely insane, and there's just always something happening that I promise you it'll always be there no matter what. Even if you were to log off for an entire week on social media, because I know logging off of social media for a week, you've already missed so much. If you log off for a week on social media, social media, the internet is forever. So if you log in and you have no idea what everyone else is talking about, you could always just go back and just rewatch it. You don't have to be there in the moment to like be in. You can log off, and it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be there for when you want to come back, because we know that the internet is there forever and it's always going to be time stamped online. That means we can let go, we can let loose, and we can focus on ourselves and focus on what truly matters. So number 2 is how to lock into your goals. Okay, we've heard this phrase, lock in. The saying is true. You won't get anywhere near where you want to be by living in your comfortable space. If you live within your bubble, like I told you, I was living in my bubble. If you live within your bubble and you don't try to get out there, if you don't get yourself out there and get yourself in front of people, in front of opportunities, then you won't get anywhere at all. You're just going to stay stuck in the exact same place that you've always been. And I don't want that for you, and I don't want that for me. So what are we going to do, right? Well, how do we lock in? How do we stay focused on all this? This is the year to practice getting rejected, practice making those type of conversations, and practice failing until you get it right. So how do you lock in? So to focus, right? The definitions to focus means to just put your interest at center. So if you want to lock in to your goals, then you got to center your time around your interest. And your interest means your goals, right? The thing that you really, really, truly want. So everything is going to be moved around so you can complete this task. For example, if your goal is to pay off debt this year, your entire day is going to be centered around this goal. So you're not going to go out and have lunch every single day with your coworkers. What you are going to do is you are going to wake up earlier and pack your lunch. What you're not going to do is go into Marshalls and TJ Maxx and just tell yourself you're just going to window shop, because you know damn well that every time you step into one of those stores, you're spending a minimum of $50. We are centering our world around our interests, and that is what focus is when you can center it and be like, nope, every decision that I make, every path that I take is always going to lead to, is this going to help me get to where I want to be? Is this going to help move the needle? Is this going to help me move the ball up? Is this going to help me climb that ladder? So when someone invites you out for drinks, you can tell them, no, I can't. I'm trying to pay off debt. Your entire actions and decisions are all going to be based upon this one singular goal that you have. And you're just going to be that annoying person that every single time that they ask, you're going to be like, nope, I have this going up. Nope, I have this going on. Nope, I got to study. Nope, I got to pay off debt. Nope, I'm trying to be skinny. Nope, I'm trying to be the next Bill Gates, whatever it is. You're just going to be that annoying person, because the more that you remind them, you're also reminding yourself of what's important, what's at the center of everything, what is the thing that you truly want in life. The more that you speak it out, the more it becomes true. So to be uncomfortable is learning to tolerate discomfort. To be afraid means to have a belief that there is danger. But to be brave, it means to experience the pain, to experience the fear, to experience the discomfort. Once you get through these fears and discomfort, people will come to you and they will say, wow, you are brave, because you're doing things that they can't understand how you even did them. They can't think for them. They can't think of themselves in your situation. It just scares them out of reality that they could possibly do the same thing too if they really wanted to. But most people don't want to experience the pain. Most people don't want to experience the discomfort, and most people don't want to experience the fear. So what do? They avoid and they go the other way. So learning to lock in with your goals is learning how to experience that. How do you experience the fear, and how do you experience discomfort? How do you go through all of that? Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to feel weird about myself. I don't want to embarrass myself or make myself feel cringe I don't want to go through all those things. But like I said, when you live inside your bubble, there is no growing, there's no evolving, there's no changing. So we have to do those things if you want to get to the other side of your goal. How do you become brave enough to experience the pain? You got to raise your pain threshold. To test your threshold, get a bowl of water and put ice in it, and stick your hand in there for as long as possible and put a stopwatch and see how long you can last in a bowl with ice. If even the thought of you sticking your hand inside of a bowl is just painful enough, then your pain threshold is it's super low. And even just the thought of you going after your goals scares you. But if you can stick your hand in there and you can actually last for a while, then you're somebody whose pain threshold is pretty high. Like, you can actually go through the motions and not be scared out of opportunities and not be scared out of accomplishing your goals or going after your goals. To build your pain tolerance, not through sticking your hand into ice cold water, but by trying to branch out more and putting yourself into uncomfortable situations. Do things that your past self would look at you now and be like, wow, you're so brave. So whatever your goal is, what are the things that you know would move mountains if you just put yourself in that uncomfortable situation? Let's say I really want to move up the ladder in my company. Then maybe it's learning to have those type of conversations, learning how to have networking skills and having communication skills with other people, and learning how to build bridges with people so that you can leverage yourself into getting a better position. Maybe it is paying off all that debt. Maybe the job that you have now, like, you're so comfortable, but it's just not paying the bills. Maybe it's learning how to branch out and finding something else that's going to pay a little bit more, even though you've probably been at this job for a really long time. You know, the discomfort of finding something new and going through that process of relearning. What are the things that are going to move the mountains, and how can you start today to start branching out more? Is it sending applications in? Is it joining Facebook groups and just starting conversations online? Like, what can we do to get our foot within the door? For me, it is networking. I grew up really shy. I had the worst social anxiety, and I'm just really introverted by nature. And it's really annoying because I feel like Ariel from The Little Mermaid, who lost her voice and can't speak, except I have the ability to speak, but I just don't. I stop myself from having really cool conversations because I'm just so within my own head. And I feel like I steer away from opportunities. I steer away from having really cool friends because I'm just so within my own head. It's really funny because I can sit in front of a camera and talk to a camera all day long. Like, I'm really good at talking to myself, believe it or not, because I'm alone majority of the time. So I've gotten really good at sitting here and talking to myself. But if, like, you guys were here in front of me and I had to speak everything that I'm saying now in front of a crowd, oh my god, I would tank, okay? I'd be like, oh my god, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. Why am I doing this? That's just, again, living within the uncomfortableness. And something I would really love to do is speak at a conference. Like, that is a dream. That I feel like that's so cool to be able to speak at a conference one of these days. And mark my words, I will do it. It's something that your younger self would look at you right now and would say, wow, you're so brave for that, because your younger self would never do something like that, but the person that you are today will. So when do we begin, right? You can literally start at this very second. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait until Monday. You don't have to wait until tomorrow. You don't have to wait until next month. You don't have to wait until next year. Okay, put your work out there and start studying. Start deciding that you are capable of experiencing the pain, that one day the pain you feel today won't be the pain that you'll feel tomorrow. Because think about it. When you go to the gym and you do weights, when you do the weighted workouts, for a lot of us, we have a starting weight, right? Well, we all do. We all have a starting weight. And you know, you'll do your reps and you'll do your starting weight, and then you add more weight for your next rep, and then you add more weight for your next rep until you get to a point where it's like, oh, this is just too painful, like I can't finish the rep, like it's too hard. Well, if you keep working at it, if you keep working towards that same muscle group and doing that same routine every single week, guess what's going to happen is that the more that you work out that muscle, the higher your starting weight will be, and so the stronger you'll become. That's the same thing as experiencing the pain. That's the same thing as you speaking at a conference for the first time, right? For me, or you going and doing interviews and you starting that business, or you putting yourself out there on social media. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first. It's going to be pretty painful at first, but the more reps that you do and the more consistent you become, the less painful it's going to be, and the higher the threshold you'll be at. So you're experiencing the discomfort you feel. It's going to be hard at first, but the more that you do it, the less hard it's going to be, and the more stronger you'll feel, and the cooler it'll be to see all of that progress that you've made over the week. And guess what? If you don't like it, you can stop it at any time. You can literally stop and never do it ever again. That's just the beauty of having freedom. So the last thing, number 3, how to be rock solid in your discipline that nothing can get you off track. So if you made it this far in this video, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and click the notification bell so you do get more videos like this every single week. Okay, so what is discipline? To be disciplined means to obey the rules. Are you capable of making rules for yourself and obeying them? Can you listen to your own intuition? Are you capable of doing the right thing and saying no to the things that don't serve you? Or are you just a rebellious teenager that loves to go around the world, and it doesn't matter what you do, you are just never going to follow through with them? So to become disciplined, it means to learn how to obey the rules, and not the rules set by the government, not rules that are set by the law, but the rules that you set for yourself. The goal is, I want to pay off 10K debt. What are the rules are you going to set for yourself so that you can actually accomplish that? Are you going to stop eating out for lunch and start making meals at home? Or are you going to stop going into TJ Maxx and Marshalls and not spend $50 every time that you go in? What are the goals? What are the rules? And write them down if you need to. But how do you keep up with these rules, right? We can make the rules all day long. We can write them all day long. We can, write them in pen. We can put them on a post-it note. We can write the rules, but how do you keep up with the rules? So every rule is going to work like a tool. It's going to have a function, and there is a reason why it's there. We aren't just going to make up the rules just to have rules. There's going to be a specific function as to why you are creating it in the first place. For example, you have a logical response as to why you put your phone on Do Not Disturb at 5 o'clock every day. Maybe there's a reason why you're waking up at 4 a.m. to make your lunch for work. Maybe there's a reason why you cut up your credit card. Everything has a rhyme and reason. Nothing is just left unscathed here. So aside from it having a purpose, right? So we gotta write down our rules and we gotta have a purpose for it. How do we become consistent? How do we keep up with these rules? Being consistent means doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're working out the same muscle group every Monday, or working on the same sales call every week. It's doing the same thing over and over again until you get the desired results. That is what consistency means. But that isn't the hard part. The hard part isn't understanding what consistency is and what you need to do. The hard part is actually being bored. Because doing the same thing over and over again is boring. Imagine having to eat the same thing every single day. How bored would you get? But if you were to eat the same thing every single day, and you would have the body of your dreams, like you would have a six-pack, like you had flat abs, you would have a big ass, skinny legs, skinny arms, and you would just look your absolute best, would you keep eating the same food every single day? I know I would. I would eat the same things every single day if it meant to have the body like that. But unfortunately, because we do the same task every single day, doesn't mean that your results are gonna look, are gonna, your results are gonna be there every single time that you do it. Your results only happen after repetition happens, after you've done it so many freaking times. Maybe by the thousandth time that you do it, then you'll get to see the results. So you're eating the same thing every single day and you don't have anything to show for it. So it gets boring. At first you're like, oh cool, yeah, like I know what I'm gonna get at the end of the day if I continue to eat this way. But when you eat it for like the 5th day in a row, you're like, why am I doing this again? Like, what I want isn't even nowhere near what I need, like where I want to be. So I'm just gonna give up. I give up. I'm not gonna do it anymore. Like, this is it for me. That is where the problem begins, is that most people just get bored and then they either try to switch things up to make it more fun again, or they just quit altogether. And they switch things up because they think that they'll be able to create some sort of shortcut and get to where they want to be faster, but in reality all you're doing is just making the journey last a lot longer, because now you're having to undo everything that you just did and try to pick up where you left off. Like, you're actually doing yourself a disservice when you're doing that. So the problem isn't how do we become consistent. It's how do we do a task when we are bored of it. So being bored means lacking the curiosity to learn or know something or someone. Think of a conversation that you had recently where it was really boring. Were you paying attention? Were you focused on what was happening or what was being said? Or were you thinking of other things? Or were your eyes wandering off to other objects? When we're bored, we lose track. When we're bored, we lose focus. And when we're bored, we lack that curiosity to learn something new. Because when you're curious about something and something's really interesting, it's gonna gravitate. You're gonna be super engaged and you're actually gonna learn something because you're focusing on what's being said. And when you're bored of it, you're just not even gonna pay attention. You're just gonna look the other way. You're not gonna make eye contact. You're just gonna be thinking about other things. Maybe you'll be typing on your computer, whatever, right? You won't be curious enough to focus on what's happening. And when we're in our goals, at first we're curious. We're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen if I upload content? What's gonna happen if I pay like $500 towards this debt? But by the time you do it like the millionth time and you've only seen this much of progress, you're gonna just be bored of it. You're gonna be like, ugh, this is another thing that I have to do that's not generating what I want, but I have to do it anyway. And the other problem too in this world is that it's becoming so much more harder to be bored, because everything is about distractions and rewarding you for those distractions. Again, going back, incentivizing you for those distractions. So how do we stay focused? How do we be bored in a world that is just full of distractions, and everything now is being programmed now being programmed to keep you from being productive. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to scale back on your phone usage, which we've already said to log off, right? We need you to log off. The less you spend on it, the better, because then we won't be tempted by meaningless scrolling or notifications that come our way. So, out the door. Less usage, the better. Number 2, we need to reshift our focus back to completing the task rather than getting sidetracked on unrelated tasks. The more we practice staying on task and then finishing, the more productive we can actually be within our day. And being bored can try to cause you to think about new ideas or want to try something new, but it's going to completely destroy any momentum that you make. So when you do get bored, I want you to learn how to just keep pushing and learn how to stay bored enough until you complete that task. And then you can veer off and do whatever you want to. But just stay on task long enough and not switch things up and not feel the need to switch things up so that you can get what you want. So number 4 is you got to learn how to be patient enough to see it happen, because it will happen if we're patient enough. If we learn to be bored enough and just do the same task every single day, then watch the magic happen. So if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and please like, and I'll make sure to make more videos just like this one. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye. Mwah.